Okay, so we just spoke about identity and the three stages of, finding and embracing and understanding your identity as a multi-passionate CEO, right? And remember, it's about going back to the source and then really zeroing in on how you define yourself by taking note of the characteristics that you have, the characteristics that you desire to have, and all of those things. And then of course, seeing who you are as a multi-passionate and embracing everything that comes with that, and deciding that it is normal and okay for you to pursue multiple ventures and to monetize those, right? So we spoke about that right? But moving into, defining your path as a multi-passionate CEO, our reality is that it's easy to get sidetracked, right? It's easy to get sidetracked and overwhelmed with, the potential things that you can do as a multi-passionate CEO, because you realize that you have multiple talents, you have multiple skills, you have a lot of things that you have to give, you have a lot inside of you that's bubbling up, to then be shared with the world. You get what I'm saying? So how do you keep focused? How do you keep focused? And I always say this to my clients: the way you keep focused is by having a full understanding of your specific purpose. Now, as people of God, we have a general purpose, which is to go forth into the earth and spread the good news and make sure that people know about God, people know that Jesus Christ came and gave the ultimate sacrifice and stuff, right? But there is an individual God breathed purpose for each and every one of us, that it's important for us to know, right? Because if we do not know that, I dare say that we are, living lost. And it sounds weird. I'm so sorry. It sounds weird. It sounds kind of awkward, living lost, But the truth is that there comes a point in a lot of people's lives where they feel like they don't know what they're living for. They feel like they don't know what they're living to accomplish. It's an existential crisis, right? So there are a lot of persons who experience that, but you find that persons who understand their purpose don't experience that as much. I mean, sometimes they might go through a season of confusion or doubt and stuff like that. So that's why I say as much. But for the persons who have uncovered their purpose, like, they're about that life. You get what I'm saying? And I dare say, as a multi-passionate CEO, it's especially important for us to understand our purpose so that we can actually use that as a guiding light, to keep us focused in terms of what we are here to achieve. Now, let me actually break that down a little bit more. So, my purpose is actually to make an impact and help persons with self-actualization so that they too can make an impact. Real simple, right? And so the idea of coaching is natural for me. The idea of coaching is not far fetched because that is literally pretty much the definition of what coaching is: really being able to provide information, resources, support, all of that, so that other people may be empowered to step more into their greatness so that they can be great. Right? So, saying that to say, like, what you'll be able to find then when you look at the different ventures that I put out there, it is nested in that, right? My digital, Christian media house focuses on giving persons, a deeper insight into person stories and stuff like that, so that they may be inspired to then make an impact. The platform itself also focuses on allowing writers to share their writing and stuff like that, so that they may make an impact. Right. My payment portal business, for persons here in Jamaica, we have a lot of red tape when it comes to cashing out money from like PayPal and international money places, right? And so based on that, now I have gone through a lot with PayPal, a lot, over the past 2.5 years, and I have had a stable payment system for that time. And I have been serving people so that they may be empowered to make their purchases and whatever and do what I need to do, right? And I mean the list goes on, right? Even my ministry, because I also sing and I write songs. A reality is that the message that I've been given, for my specific walk, as a purpose filled individual is that of redemption, and just making sure people know that there is hope in Jesus Christ, right? That empowers person so that they may go and make an impact. So when you really take a stock of everything I do, that's at the core of everything. So as much as from the outside, if persons don't take the time to actually like evaluate the things that I do, a reality is that people will think I'm just doing things here, there, and everywhere. But for me, I don't, because I am zeroed in on what I'm here to do. I'm zeroed in on the things I want to do because I have that deep desire to achieve my purpose. And so I have that deep desire to serve people in this very specific way. It just manifests itself in multiple formats, right? And so it's important for us to be very in tune with our purpose so that we can then create from that. So it means then that if we come upon an opportunity or choose to maybe create something or whatever that does not necessarily line up with that purpose, then it's easier to sift and say, all right, cool, like this isn't helping me to really really achieve my deep purpose anyway. So like I can shed that, right? So also giving you an example. So I used to be a wedding planner, right? And the passion really started from when I was helping someone else to, with their wedding planning business. And then when that season ended and stuff, I said, hey, let me go into it because so as to not waste the skills that I would have gained, right? And so a reality is that for some time I was pushing my wedding planning business, but for some time, for some reason, it was just not getting off the ground, and I couldn't understand why. And I mean, like the way the business came to an end was a bit painful. I'm not gonna get into those details, but when I look back at it, like I was trying to build this business for 3 years and it was just not coming off the ground. And I feel like the only way that I would have really let it go is if, like, low key, the Lord forced my hand. Because I technically was given an ultimatum. Focus on this. Like, I got a dream, I got vision. Like, yeah, and then the painful thing happened like as a final nail in the bucket. You get what I'm saying? So so saying that to say, as much as yes, the core principles of wedding planning, like planning and organization and stuff like that, like I valued that. I said, you know what, I'm not going to waste that experience. I'm going to choose pull those principles from what I would have done in wedding planning or in that season of wedding planning. And so now I can say that that's part of my part of the reason I am very structured in terms of the organization of my days and the organization of my businesses. And I have a deep love for project management and things like that because I love seeing things that I put on paper come to fruition. You get what I'm saying? Now, saying that to say, so I was able to sift and I learned that painful lesson and stuff. But looking back again, like when I look at my purpose and stuff, even though I mean helping people to get married, like empowers them, but if you realize it, it stretches. You have to stretch it to really, really see, how it put it lines up with the purpose, right? And I dare say, like, don't try and stretch the truth. Like, don't try and stretch things to make it fit into the mm-mm, mm-mm. Anybody got time, right? You'll get other desires, ideas of that. Like, stay true to the purpose and see what the Lord inspires you to do and run with those things, right? Yeah, right. So saying that to say no, since I've established the whole matter of purpose, I want to tell you that I actually go a step further. So I don't just talk about purpose. I believe in purpose audacity. It's so important for us to be audacious in being about that purpose filled life. Straight up. Like, if we're going to be about living for God, if we're going to be about living to serve His people, if we're going to be about, surrender, there has to be a confidence and there has to be a conviction. There has to be like a settledness, and you deciding that you are going to take up space as you pursue your purpose. So you have the audacity to be, right? You have the audacity to be and to stand as a multi passionate CEO. You have the audacity to stand as a child of God who is sure and clear on their purpose. Because the persons who are not standing in purpose to audacity, you find that they get a bit wobbly a little more frequent, and and I mean, there might be many variables, so I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm going to pretend like I know all of the different variables. But I find that persons who are not, boldly embracing their purpose, and boldly standing in their purpose, and boldly standing in their identity, and all of those things, are the persons who get sidetracked easier, are the persons who, somehow get insecure in their purpose a lot easier as well. But the thing about it is, why I believe it's absolutely important for us to stand in purpose audacity is so that we can, as best as possible and as consistently as possible, avoid those things. Because when you start crumbling inside, when you start doubting what you are here to do, when you start, questioning and all of those things, that directly affects your empire, that directly affects, what you are putting out as a multi-passionate CEO, right? And so I really really want to encourage you to, do that deep dive into your purpose, and feel sure about it and feel secure about it. Pray as much as you need to, journal as much as you need to, like, do what you need to do. And then once you are clear on that, walk in that, like, boldly, right? Have that purposed audacity. Have that audacity to be about that God, pursuing life, about that purpose filled life. And then watch the energy and the attitude, that you approach business and service and all of that. Watch that change. Watch it level up. I'll see you in the next video.